Hey everyone, before we dive into this story, please hit that subscribe button to join our channel and stay updated with more stories like this. I walked into the boardroom, heart pounding, ready to pitch to our biggest potential client yet. My secretary, Lisa, trailed behind, her notepad in hand, exuding confidence. I'd spent weeks preparing, perfecting every slide, every word. My accent, thick from my roots in a small town, was something I'd always been conscious of. I'd worked hard to make sure it didn't overshadow my ideas. Lisa, on the other hand, had a polished city accent, smooth as glass. She never let me forget it, always dropping subtle hints about clarity in meetings. Today was my chance to prove myself, to show the client my vision. The stakes were high. Landing this deal could transform my small company. I adjusted my tie, took a deep breath, and smiled at the client. They were a tough crowd, their faces unreadable. Lisa sat to my right, her expression neutral but her eyes sharp. I launched into the pitch, my voice steady despite the nerves. The room felt electric, like everything hinged on this moment. My slides clicked forward, each one laying out the plan with precision and care. I spoke about innovation, growth, and partnership, my passion carrying the words. The client leaned in, their interest peaked, nodding at key points. But then I caught Lisa's smirk from the corner of my eye. She leaned over, whispering loudly enough for others to hear, "Try to enunciate, boss." Her tone dripped with mockery, her city accent cutting through. The client's eyes flicked toward her, then back to me. I felt a flush of heat creep up my neck, but I kept going. My accent wasn't perfect, but my ideas were. I focused on the client, describing how our product could solve their problems. Lisa's comment hung in the air, but I refused to let it derail me. I gestured to the data on the screen, my voice growing stronger. The client asked a question, and I answered with clarity. They nodded, impressed, while Lisa scribbled notes, her smirk fading. The pitch flowed smoothly, my confidence building with every slide. I shared stories of our company's journey, tying them to the client's needs. My accent, which I'd once seen as a flaw, gave my words authenticity. The client smiled, relating to my small-town grit. Lisa, however, wasn't done. Midway through, she interrupted, "Maybe I should clarify that point for you." Her voice was loud, her tone patronizing, as if I couldn't be trusted to speak. The room went quiet, the client's eyes narrowing slightly. I felt the sting but smiled and said, "No need, Lisa, I've got this." I continued, diving deeper into our strategy, my passion undeniable. The client was engaged, asking follow-up questions, their interest clear. Lisa's face tightened. She hadn't expected me to push back. I kept my focus on the client, my accent weaving through every word. By the end of this section, they were nodding enthusiastically. I moved to the financials, laying out projections with precision and confidence. The client was impressed, scribbling notes as I spoke about ROI and scalability. Lisa shifted in her seat, her discomfort growing as my pitch gained traction. She tried to interject again, "I think he means to say," but I cut her off politely. "Let me finish, Lisa," I said, my tone firm but professional. The client's eyes stayed on me, not her, their trust in my vision growing. My accent, once a source of insecurity, felt like an asset now. It made me relatable, human, not some polished corporate drone. I shared a personal anecdote about my first business failure, tying it to resilience. The client leaned forward, captivated, while Lisa's pen froze mid-note. I could feel the room shifting in my favor. My ideas were landing, and her interruptions were falling flat. The pitch was mine, and I owned it. As I wrapped up the first section, I asked the client for their thoughts, inviting dialogue. They praised the clarity of my vision, their questions showing genuine interest. Lisa's face was a mask of forced neutrality, but her eyes betrayed frustration. I'd turned her mockery into fuel, letting my authenticity shine through. My accent wasn't a barrier, it was a bridge to the client. They connected with my story, my drive, my unpolished edge. Lisa had underestimated me, assuming her perfect diction would outshine me. But the client wasn't here for polish. They wanted results. I ended the segment with a strong call to action, outlining next steps. The client nodded, clearly impressed, their pens moving quickly. Lisa's role was shrinking, her confidence crumbling. I felt a surge of pride, not just in my pitch but in myself. The room was mine, and I wasn't letting go. Transitioning to the next phase, I introduced our product demo, a key part of the pitch. The tech was innovative, tailored to the client's unique challenges, and I explained it with enthusiasm. My accent rolled through the technical terms, but my passion made them clear. The client was engaged, asking detailed questions about implementation. Lisa tried to jump in again, offering simpler explanations, but I gently redirected. "I'll walk them through it," I said, my voice calm but authoritative. The client appreciated my hands-on approach, their trust in me solidifying. My accent, far from being a weakness, added character to my delivery. I could see Lisa's frustration mounting. She wasn't used to being sidelined. I kept the focus on the client, answering their questions with precision. The demo went flawlessly, the room buzzing with excitement. I was in control, and it felt incredible. The client began sharing their own challenges, opening up about their needs. I listened intently, tailoring my responses to show how our solution fit perfectly. My accent didn't hinder me. It made my words feel genuine, grounded. Lisa, sensing her irrelevance, tried to insert herself again, but the client ignored her. They were focused on me, my ideas, my vision for their future. I shared data from case studies, showing real-world results. The client's questions grew more specific, a sign they were seriously considering us. Lisa's interruptions had backfired, making her look petty instead of helpful. I stayed professional, never addressing her behavior directly. My focus was the client, and they could feel it. My accent, my story, my passion, it was all resonating. The pitch was hitting every mark, and I could sense victory. As we neared the end of the demo, the client was visibly excited, their body language open. I walked them through the timeline, showing how we'd deliver results fast. My accent, thick but clear, carried conviction, and they hung on every word. Lisa's earlier mockery now felt like a distant memory, irrelevant. I'd taken her attempt to undermine me and turned it into my strength. The client asked about pricing, a sign they were ready to move forward. I laid out the numbers clearly, my confidence unwavering. Lisa sat silently, her notepad untouched, her role diminished. The client's lead decision-maker smiled, saying, "I like your approach." That was the moment I knew we were close. My accent hadn't held me back. It had set me apart. The room was alive with possibility, and I was at its center. I closed the pitch with a powerful summary, tying everything back to their goals. My voice, accent and all, rang with sincerity and determination. The client was nodding, their excitement palpable, ready to take the next step. Lisa's earlier comments were forgotten, her presence barely noticed. I'd proven my worth, not just to the client but to myself. My accent wasn't a flaw. It was part of my story, my authenticity. The client asked for a proposal timeline, and I promised one by end of day. They shook my hand warmly, their trust in me clear. Lisa's face was pale, her confidence shattered. She'd miscalculated. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. The pitch was a success because of my work, my vision. The client saw me, not her, and that was enough. After the meeting, the client lingered, chatting about next steps and their excitement. Lisa packed her things quickly, avoiding eye contact, her ego bruised. I thanked the client, my accent still present but irrelevant to them. They saw my expertise, my drive, not my speech patterns. Back at the office, I drafted the proposal, my confidence soaring. Lisa's mockery had been a test, and I'd passed with flying colors. The client called later that day, eager to move forward. My small-town accent hadn't stopped me, it had made me memorable. I'd turned a potential weakness into a strength, and it felt empowering. The deal was close, and I knew it was mine. Lisa's role in the pitch was a footnote, nothing more. This was my moment, and I'd earned it. The next morning, I reviewed the proposal, ensuring every detail was perfect. My accent might color my speech, but my work was flawless, my vision clear. Lisa was quieter now, her usual smugness replaced by unease. She'd overplayed her hand, and it showed in her subdued demeanor. I didn't address her behavior. I didn't need to. The client's response spoke for itself. They emailed, praising the pitch and requesting a follow-up meeting. My heart raced as I read their words, their trust in me undeniable. My accent, which Lisa had mocked, hadn't fazed them. If anything, it made me stand out in a sea of corporate monotony. I scheduled the follow-up, my confidence growing with every step. Lisa's role was minimal now, her input unnecessary. The client wanted me, my ideas, my leadership. This was my victory, built on my terms. In the follow-up meeting, I led with the same passion, my accent unapologetic. The client was even more engaged, diving into specifics about implementation. Lisa sat silently, her notepad barely touched, her earlier bravado gone. I walked the client through the proposal, addressing every concern with clarity. My accent wove through my words, but it was my expertise that shone. The client loved our proactive approach, our tailored solutions. They didn't care about my speech, they cared about results. Lisa's attempt to undermine me had backfired spectacularly. I could feel her discomfort, but I stayed focused on the client. Their questions were sharp, but I answered with precision, my confidence unshaken. The room felt lighter, the deal closer than ever. My accent was just part of who I was, and I embraced it. As the meeting progressed, the client began discussing contract terms, a clear sign of commitment. I laid out our deliverables, my voice steady, my accent a non-issue. Lisa tried to chime in once, but the client politely ignored her, their focus on me. Her mockery her earlier mockery was now a distant embarrassment for her. The client was sold on my vision, my passion, not her polished accent. I shared more data, reinforcing our track record of success. The client nodded, their trust in me unwavering, their pens moving quickly. Lisa's silence was deafening. She knew she'd lost this round. I kept the conversation flowing, addressing every detail with care. The client's lead decision-maker leaned forward, asking about timelines. I answered confidently, my accent adding authenticity to my words. The deal was inching closer, and I was in control. The client's questions grew more strategic, focusing on long-term partnerships. I leaned into my story, using my small-town roots to connect on a human level. My accent wasn't a barrier, it was a strength, making me relatable, real. Lisa's earlier comments felt petty now, her attempt to overshadow me futile. I outlined our support plan, emphasizing our commitment to their success. The client was impressed, their body language open, engaged. I could see Lisa shifting uncomfortably, her role diminished to nearly nothing. My pitch had won them over, my authenticity sealing the deal. They asked for a detailed timeline, which I promised to deliver promptly. Lisa's notepad remained untouched, her confidence shattered. The client's trust was mine, earned through hard work and genuine passion. My accent had become my signature, not a flaw. The meeting ended with handshakes and smiles. Back at the office, I finalized the contract, every clause airtight, every detail perfect. Lisa was nowhere to be seen, likely licking her wounds in silence. My accent, once her target, was now a badge of pride, a mark of my authenticity. The client's email arrived, confirming their intent to sign with us. My heart soared. This was the biggest deal of my career. Lisa's mockery had been a misstep, exposing her arrogance, not my weakness. I called the client to discuss next steps, my voice clear and confident. They praised my approach, my vision, my story, not my speech. The contract was being reviewed, the deal all but sealed. Lisa's role in this victory was non-existent, her interruptions forgotten. I'd turned her attempt to undermine me into my triumph. My small-town accent had become my strength, my edge. The client signed the contract 2 days later, a moment of pure elation. I read the signed documents, my smile wide, my accent irrelevant to their decision. Lisa's absence in the office was noticeable, her confidence clearly shaken. She'd underestimated me, assuming her polished diction would outshine my ideas. But the client chose me, my vision, my authenticity over her shallow critique. I celebrated with my team, their support unwavering, their pride in me clear. My accent, once a source of doubt, was now a symbol of my resilience. The deal was a game changer, putting my company on the map. Lisa's mockery was a footnote, irrelevant in the face of my success. I prepared for the next phase, ready to deliver on our promises. The client's trust was mine, and I wouldn't let them down. Word spread quickly about the deal, my team buzzing with excitement and pride. Lisa's demeanor had shifted. She was quieter, less smug, more cautious. My accent, which she'd mocked so openly, was now a non-issue, a part of my story. The client called to discuss implementation, their enthusiasm infectious. I answered their questions, my voice steady, my accent unapologetic. They valued my expertise, my drive, not my speech patterns. Lisa's attempt to undermine me had only highlighted her pettiness. My company was thriving, the deal a testament to my hard work. I met with my team to plan next steps, my leadership unquestioned. Lisa's role was minimal, her input unnecessary in this victory. My accent had become a strength, a mark of my unique journey. The future was bright, and I was ready for it. As we began working with the client, their trust in me grew stronger. My accent was a non-factor, my ideas and execution taking center stage. Lisa kept her distance, her earlier bravado replaced by quiet reflection. She'd misjudged me, and it showed in her subdued presence. I led meetings with confidence, my voice carrying the weight of my experience. The client appreciated my authenticity, my small-town roots resonating. My accent wasn't a flaw, it was a feature, setting me apart. The project kicked off smoothly, our team aligned with the client's goals. Lisa's mockery was a distant memory, irrelevant to our success. I focused on delivering results, my passion driving every decision. The client's feedback was glowing, their commitment solid. My story, accent and all, had won them over. Months later, the project was thriving, our partnership with the client stronger than ever. Lisa had taken a step back, her role reduced, her confidence humbled. My accent, once her target, was now a point of pride, a symbol of my journey. The client praised our work, their satisfaction evident in every call. I led with authenticity, my voice clear, my ideas sharper than ever. Lisa's interruptions were a thing of the past, her misstep forgotten. My company was growing, the deal a launchpad for bigger opportunities. My accent hadn't held me back, it had made me memorable. I met with the client regularly, their trust in me unwavering. Lisa's mockery had been a catalyst, pushing me to prove myself. The success was mine, built on my terms, my story. Reflecting on the pitch, I realized how far I'd come, accent and all. Lisa's mockery had been a challenge, one I'd met with resilience and grit. The client's decision to sign with me was validation, not just of my ideas but of me. My accent was part of my identity, a piece of my small-town roots. Lisa's polished diction hadn't won the day, my authenticity had. The project was a success, our reputation growing with every milestone. I led my team with pride, my voice unwavering, my accent embraced. Lisa's role in this story was minimal, her arrogance a miscalculation. The client saw me for who I was, and they chose me. My accent was no longer a doubt but a strength, a mark of my journey. The deal was mine, and I'd earned it. Block 3. The client's project hit its first major milestone, and their praise was effusive. My accent, once mocked by Lisa, was now a non-issue, part of my charm. She was quieter now, her earlier confidence replaced by restraint. I'd proven myself, not just to the client but to everyone who doubted me. My voice carried authority, my accent adding depth to my words. The client valued our partnership, their trust in me absolute. Lisa's attempt to undermine me had only strengthened my resolve. Our company was thriving, the deal a cornerstone of our growth. I led with passion, my small-town roots grounding me. Lisa's role was negligible, her mockery a fading memory. The client's success was ours, built on my vision. My accent was a badge of honor, not a flaw. As the project progressed, the client became more than just a business partner, they became advocates. My accent, which Lisa had ridiculed, was now a signature of my authenticity. She avoided the spotlight, her earlier arrogance a misstep. I led meetings with confidence, my voice resonating with experience. The client appreciated my hands-on approach, my genuine passion. Lisa's interruptions were irrelevant, her presence barely noticed. Our company's reputation soared, the deal a testament to our potential. My accent was a strength, a reminder of my roots. I worked closely with the client, their feedback consistently positive. Lisa's mockery had pushed me to shine brighter. The project's success was ours, and I was at its heart. The client invited me to their headquarters to celebrate the project's success. My accent, once Lisa's target, was now a point of connection, humanizing me. She stayed in the background, her confidence shaken, her role minimal. I spoke with the client's team, my voice clear, my accent unapologetic. They valued my story, my drive, my authenticity over polish. Lisa's attempt to overshadow me had failed spectacularly. Our company was on the rise, the deal a launchpad for growth. I led with pride, my small-town roots a source of strength. The client's trust was unwavering, their praise genuine. Lisa's mockery was a distant echo, irrelevant now. My accent had become my edge, my unique mark. The celebration was a milestone, and I owned it. Back at the office, my team rallied around our shared success, their pride palpable. Lisa's demeanor had changed. She was professional but subdued, her ego checked. My accent, once her punchline, was now a symbol of my resilience. The client's project was exceeding expectations, their feedback glowing. I led with authenticity, my voice carrying the weight of my journey. Lisa's interruptions were forgotten, her role in this story minor. Our company was thriving, the deal a game-changer for our future. My accent was part of me, a strength I embraced fully. I planned the next phase with the client, their trust in me solid. Lisa's misstep had only fueled my determination. The success was mine, built on my vision, my story. The client recommended us to other companies, our reputation spreading fast. My accent, once mocked, was now a hallmark of my authenticity, my grit. Lisa kept a low profile, her earlier bravado a thing of the past. I led with confidence, my voice steady, my accent a non-issue. The client valued our partnership, their commitment unwavering. Lisa's attempt to undermine me had only highlighted my strength. Our company was growing, the deal a foundation for bigger things. My small-town roots grounded me, my accent a point of pride. I met with new prospects, my story resonating with them. Lisa's mockery was irrelevant, a miscalculation on her part. The client's success was ours, and I was its architect. As our company grew, I reflected on the pitch that changed everything. Lisa's mockery had been a test, one I'd passed with flying colors. My accent was no longer a doubt but a strength, a piece of my identity. The client's project was a success, their trust in me absolute. I led with passion, my voice carrying the weight of my journey. Lisa's role was minimal, her interruptions a forgotten misstep. Our reputation was soaring, the deal a catalyst for growth. My accent was a badge of honor, a mark of my roots. I planned for the future, my confidence unshaken. Lisa's arrogance had pushed me to prove myself. The victory was mine, earned through hard work and authenticity. The client's project hit another milestone, their praise louder than ever. My accent, once Lisa's target, was now a non-factor, a part of my story. She was quieter, her confidence humbled, her role diminished. I led with authority, my voice resonating with experience. The client valued my authenticity, my drive, my vision. Lisa's mockery had only strengthened my resolve. Our company was thriving, the deal a cornerstone of our success. My accent was a strength, a reminder of my journey. I worked closely with the client, their feedback consistently positive. Lisa's misstep was a distant memory, irrelevant now. My small-town roots grounded me, my accent a point of pride. The project's success was ours, and I was at its core. Thanks for joining me on this journey. If you loved this story, please subscribe to our channel for more inspiring tales like this one.